All right. And that's it. I'm just noodling around here, my friends. If that song sounds familiar, that was a little bit of, a segment from Don't Stand So Close to Me by the Police. You probably know it. You've probably heard it before. All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to pull up Facebook, which I just did, and make sure that my YouTube is running, which it is. And I'm going to see if anybody saw, just for kicks and giggles, I want to see if anybody could identify that song. Nobody said, somebody did say something. Yeah, G did. Yeah, is that Police backing track? It is, my friends. Welcome! Eric Andreas, your Guitar Sage here for our 11 a.m. Thursday live broadcast, where today what we're going to be talking about, is my camera set straight? I don't think it is. How about that? That's a little better. All right. Hi, how you doing? So today what we're going to be talking about is how to play clean chords and how to know what chords to play, like what chords work with what. And we're going to be covering both of those things today. This is all part of the series of the bits and pieces, basically, that guitar players leave behind and they regret it. These are the basics that many guitar players think, or they don't take the time to really investigate and really get good at, and because of that, it's the foundation of everything that you do on the guitar. I mean, chords, fretting, picking, all these things are basic things, and if we don't have these down, which most people don't, they kind of just do whatever. They learn a song by ear and they get by, right? But then later on, they're wondering why they're having issues with this stuff, all right? So a few orders of business really quickly is you want to make sure that you are either on, well, you're either on Facebook or YouTube right now, but you want to make sure that you download the free PDF that I have created for you for today's live broadcast. And you'll see the link for that inside the description of the video. It'll say something like bonus PDF, something like that. Get that because we're going to be looking at that during this process here, okay? If you don't have it, you're not going to be lost, but it's helpful. And I took the time to create it for you, so you may want to get it. Okay, so that's number one. Make sure you download that. Number two, this beautiful Dan Electro guitar is going bye-bye. I've had a lot of fun with it, and in fact, so much so that I've kind of fallen in love with it. And yeah, it's going away. Oh, and by the way, the color is correct now. So there you go. Before we were having some issues with the color, but we've got all that corrected, I believe. So this beautiful guitar is going away along with 4 of their new Billionaire Series pedals that I've done some reviews for. You'll be seeing those go up maybe for the next over the next few days. I did a review for this guitar that came out yesterday, I believe, or today. Nonetheless, it's out, so you can search for that on my YouTube channel and hear all about it, hear all the different tones and what have you. Over $3,000 worth of goodies that we'll be giving away on Saturday live. Memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System. I say live. Lifetime memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System. And I will be showing you 2 simple tricks. Is it 2 simple tricks? I hope that's correct. Nonetheless, I'm going to be showing you a simple way to add 120 new chords to your chord vocabulary. And we'll be doing it all less than an hour. Literally. Trust me, I'm going to take you there, okay? I like to make claims like that, and then I like to deliver on them because you will go, wow, that's amazing. And it's just fun to do. So, That's what we're going to be doing. And today, I'm going to be teaching you the lesson, and then we'll be taking questions at the end here. So on Facebook and YouTube, I'll be bouncing back and forth. If you would please share this video right now, because those that do, we always reward them in some way or another, either with a signed book or with, we pick winners, I should say. Not everybody that shares it, because that would be a lot. But, and we do give away a lot, but that's how we do these, is you share it and we randomly pick usually like 5 winners, and we'll give away either a signed book, or we'll give away an ebook bundle, which is worth $22, all sorts of stuff. We give away guitars sometimes, so that's what we're doing today, my friends. All right, good stuff. All right, good. Here we go. Let's talk about it. So I'm gonna pull up the PDF right now, as you should be doing. And we're going to talk about, playing chords cleanly and knowing what to play, the basics that most guitarists skip and regret. So in the beginning, I'm just going to give you an overview of what the PDF is. Many of you know how to read chord stamps already. Some of you do not, but basically we go over it from the very beginning, like how to read chord stamps. And then we talk about how to play open chords. Now we're going to be talking about that today specifically, like how do you make them sound good, if you've got muted notes, if you've got buzzing notes, those sorts of things. Because most people are like, well, you put your fingers on the guitar and you strum. That's how you play them. Yeah, I got that part. Thanks. I love when I get those comments on YouTube. But there's a little bit more to it than that, right? If you're getting buzzing or muting comments, or muting strings, yeah, I had some energy drinks, so sue me, okay? Oh, and then we also have a chapter here on talent versus practice. And the reason that I wanted to put that in there is so many people, and I see it, the younger the guitar player, and I don't mean by age, I mean the more new of a guitar player they are, the more that I see this. They will see another guitar player and they will think that there's this disconnect, that there's this chasm, that here they are, here's this person, they want to be on the guitar, and this is an impossible chasm. It's something that's impossible to traverse. And that's absolutely not true whatsoever. It's time and practice. A lot of people will think, oh yeah, Eric, you say that, but Stevie Ray Vaughan, you telling me he wasn't talented? Yep, I'm saying that. But Eddie Van Halen, Eric, you saying he wasn't talented? Yep, I'm saying that. We could say talented, they're talented, but what I'm trying to show you here, and trust me, I'm helping you. This is not you disagreeing with me here. Number one, it's just not true, and number two, it's not going to help you. So just let me guide you here for a minute. What I mean by talent is what a lot of people think is, oh wow, they're so talented. Well, that's why they play guitar well, because they're talented. Or that's why they sing well, or that's why they can run a marathon, because they're talented. And I'm calling BS on that, because every single person, every single being who does something well has done so because they put a lot of practice, a lot of hard work and energy into it. And you or me saying, oh, they're just talented, that's easy. That's stealing from them all the hard work and time and energy that they put in on something. I guarantee you're really good at something. Maybe not guitar, but something. And I guarantee you didn't come out of the womb being really good at something, unless it's pooping or breathing or something real basic that we all do right from the beginning, eating, right? Okay, you're good at that. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a skill. Skills are acquired because of practice. And when we say, oh, someone's talented, for me, whenever I hear that, I always think that they're saying that someone that they have some special ability that they were born with, and that's not at all the case. It's just not. If you want to believe that, you can. It'll be to your own detriment. That's why I included this chapter here, talent versus practice, because bottom line, I'm including that in what we're talking about today, because when it comes to playing chords cleanly, it's the utmost of importance to understand that practice, and real specific type of hyper-focused practice, is what's going to get you there, okay? It's not some prayer or wish, even though I have my own thoughts about those things. I'm not saying that doesn't work, but I'm saying at the end of the day, it has to do with practice, because you could pray all day long and wish all day long that you're going to become a better guitar player. It ain't going to happen. If it has, please show me that person, and I would love to know what prayer or mantra they're saying that made them so great without the practice, okay? So bottom line, it comes down to practice, and it comes down to specific types of practice. I say this all the time. You need two things. You need the right instruction and you need to practice those instructions, okay? Hopefully I can be that instruction for you. So let's talk about specifically playing chords cleanly, and then we'll talk about what chords work nicely together so that you know what to play. You know what chords to play with what chords, okay? All right, here we go. So when we're talking about playing chords, in fact, I'm going to turn off this delay here. That's all we want right there. So when we are playing chords, a lot of times starting off, there's this tendency for guitar players to grapple the neck. And because they do that with their thumb coming over the top of the neck, you'll see me play like that all the time. But for beginners, you've got to learn the right way to do it. If you come at it right away from starting off with really bad habits, then it's going to be very, very, very frustrating. And learning guitar is very frustrating anyhow, or it can be if you're taking it at the wrong pace. But if you're left unattended, it's very frustrating. That's why a good teacher is helpful and will guide you through all this, right? But if you're starting off with your thumb over the top of the neck, hanging over here, that's not very good, okay? I wouldn't advise that because what happens is it automatically makes your hand sit where you're using the pads of your fingers instead of the fingertips. Now, earlier on in this month, one of the modules that we talked about was fretting and how to fret correctly, how to hold your guitar correctly, the right posture, and those sorts of things. Super quick. If you want to hold your guitar correctly, it's got to be held by something. It's got to be held by your thigh, your arm, those sorts of things. The classical stance is very helpful, and knowing how to pick and knowing how to fret are very important. We were not going to cover those today because those I covered in the previous module. If you need to get caught up on that, stick with me here today, but take advantage of the free course that I have for you. The link's in the description of this video. Assuming that you've watched that already, or you're watching this right now and you went and watched it and came back to this video, you've got those basics covered. Now we're talking about chords, okay? So we got, before we start subtracting and dividing and multiplying and all that, we have to learn to add. We can't jump over that, okay? So assuming that you know how to do basic fretting and basic picking, we've got to learn how to clean up our chords, right? Because there's nothing worse than playing a chord and going through all that trouble and pain and what have you, and then your chord doesn't sound good. Now check this out. If I play my C chord like this, now look, check out my hand right now. Now, if I were to just simply, watch the difference in here. Watch the difference here. Here's my C chord. All the notes are sounding. Now watch this. If I just barely get lazy here, and I'm pressing down the same amount, but now I've got 3 notes that are being muted. And notice what I'm doing differently with my hand. Watch this. The only thing I'm doing is I'm curling that last knuckle. That's it. That is it. That's the magic. If you don't do that, you're going to have problems. Now, we talked about earlier that, playing on your fingertips is very important, and that's what this curled knuckle technique is doing. We've got to play right up on the fret. We can't play back here because start getting those buzzing sounds or muted sounds. So playing closer up to the fret makes more sense. You're going to have better leverage. You won't have to press down as hard. Your fingers won't hurt as badly. So you got to play up on those frets. We want to use all of our fingers. We talked about that. We want to press firm enough to where we're still not getting that buzz, because you could be straight up on the fret or close to it and still get a buzz if you're not pressing down hard enough. Okay? Not the good kind of buzz, the bad kind of buzz. Okay? So, but when it comes to chords, there's yet another thing, right? So a lot of folks will say, well, I can play that exercise that you give us in the free courses, Eric, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, all those. And I can do those great, but when it comes to chords, for some mysterious reason, Eric, I can't do it very well. Does that sound like you? Wow. You think I would be like a medium or something here because I'm inside your head. No, it's just that every single student that I've ever taught, thousands of lessons, every single student has basically said the same thing in some form, fashion, or another. They're like, well, I don't understand. I was playing these single notes, but then the chords are difficult. Of course they are, because you're doing many things at once, many strings at once. So we have to keep inventory of many different things, several variables, 5 or 6, when it comes to these chords sometimes. So one thing that is absolutely crucial for you to do is to be able to curl that knuckle. And I always think about like someone who's in martial arts, right? And to protect your fingers, you curl them in. Yes, you can do this, but I've seen this done as well, where the finger is curled, so you're like doing a blade right there. And so they curl their knuckles like that, right? That's a good exercise to literally just get this concept. Pick your hand, put it up in the air. And don't do this. You're not making a fist. What you're doing is your hands are extended like up, like that, but you're keeping the last 2 knuckles curled as much as possible. Not a fist. Doing that right there, okay? Like a C almost, okay? So both of these knuckles are curled as much as possible. When I look at them, they're white. So you're white knuckling it, right? And the more important knuckle is this last knuckle, the one that's closer to the tip of the finger, because you could have this one curled all day long, but that other knuckle is the one that really is going to be the note, or it's going to be the part of the finger that, if it's not curled, you're going to end up touching these other strings with the pad of your finger. Bad news, because then we get this sound. Instead of that nice sound, right? So very important, okay? Very, very important that you do that. How do you practice that? It's just like anything else, okay? It's focus, hyper-focus, so looking at what you're doing, and if you can either hear it or visually see what you're doing. When I'm picking through these chords, and I always say, when you're practicing your chords at first, pick through them nice and slowly, because if everything sounds great, you just do this, and then, what's going on there? And if you observe enough, right now I can actually feel that muted string touch the pad of my first finger. And I can say, okay. So not only am I feeling it, right? I'm also hearing it. That's the first thing you're going to do, is you're going to hear it. But you can look, you can visually look. Okay, what's going on with that finger? And I could look kind of down the fretboard here a bit and see what's going on. Sometimes I would examine and I'd go, okay, I see what's happening there. It's touching. But 99.9% of the time, it's that the pad of your finger's touching. So you can almost just believe me there. The other thing is you can feel it. I'm feeling that string touch the pad of my first finger. So I know that specifically I'm muting this chord, and that's not good. We don't want that, right? Not if you want to get invited back for another gig, right? Got to have nice clean chords. So that is the key to all chords, is curling that last knuckle. Now, I say all chords. Later on, you'll learn bar chords. Maybe you know bar chords already, and if you do, that's great. I have lots of lessons for this on YouTube, inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, etc. The primer course, the top 30 lessons that I teach all my students, the one that I'm giving you for free today, that's in the description of this video, the link's in there, which, by the way, if you don't want to go there, just type in YourGuitarSage.com/30. YourGuitarSage.com/30. Top 30 lessons I teach all my students. I'm teaching you these techniques, preparing you for the bar chords. You can come back to YouTube and watch my bar chords video. Just search Your Guitar Sage bar chords. Okay, so you got that idea, right? So that's what we want to do. So very important to use that curl technique. If you do that, I guarantee you it's going to take care of 99% of your chord issues. Muted notes, usually the muted notes. The buzzing notes typically will have to do because you're not pressing hard enough or your fingers aren't close enough to the fret, okay? Either way, through observation and correction, you're going to get it. I think it was Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over again. Well, we know that's the definition of insanity, right? It's doing something that's not working over and over again. But if you do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same result. So you got to do something different. You've got to change it up. Whether you're working out, playing guitar, eating, doesn't matter. You got to change things up, because if you don't, you get used to it and nothing's going to change. You got to change it up, okay? So for you today, that's what you're going to be doing. Is you're going to be curling that knuckle, and you're going to be very observant about it. Cool? All right. So now I also promised you that in this particular broadcast, I would be showing you how to know what to play. And what I meant by that is, I mean, this title's long enough, so sometimes it's hard to get all of the ideas across in these titles and still and keep it short. As you can see, playing chords cleanly and knowing what to play, the basics that most guitarists skip and regret, is a fairly long title. So, and Chris loves that when we create those big long titles. So let's talk about what chords to play. So inside of the free course, now I mention that all the time because we're sitting here for an hour and then I'll get to some lessons, but the amount of stuff that I cover is a lot more than 1 hour worth of lessons, so I have to refer you to these other things, because every time if we did this, I taught every single thing from scratch like many people want me to do. This would be a 10-hour lesson every single Thursday. My wife would not allow that. I wouldn't want to do that, and that would be lazy on your part, so you really need to invest the free course, okay? You need to invest the time of clicking on the link and getting in the free course. Otherwise, visit me here in Nashville. Literally, those same lessons sitting in front of me would cost about $1,000 because it would take us about 30 weeks. All right, here we go. So we got to know these chords. What chords to play with what? So I get this question a lot. People say, well, how do I know what chords work together? And it's super easy. This is not in your PDF because you could literally memorize this super easy, or just write it down as we're going along here. But you know the major scale. Oh, and that's why I'm referring to the free courses. I teach the major scale in detail inside the free course, and it's very important that you understand the major scale, because the major scale, essentially, if you were a carpenter and you were coming today to watch this broadcast on carpentry and you didn't have a hammer in your toolbox, that would be kind of ridiculous, wouldn't it? Yes, you're agreeing with me. You should be. So yes, that would be ridiculous. If you, listen to me, if you, watching this broadcast today, do not know the major scale, if you don't know that it's constructed of major, major, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, those are the interval distances away from each other. We won't go into the details in the free course. If you don't understand that concept, and that all of music theory comes from that one ruler, or all nails are hammered with that one hammer, then it's kind of like you're showing up to a gig, or you're showing up to carpentry school, and you don't own a hammer. You got to know what the major scale is. You got to know how to use it. The introduction to that is in the course, so you got to know that. So, assuming that you know this, okay, some of you know this. Few of you know this. Most of you probably do not, and that's okay. We're going to talk about it really quickly. We're not going to go over the details because you know where to find those details. So, the major scale, we know it, we love it. It's what constructs 99% of all the music that's out there: jazz, blues, rock, classical, doesn't matter. With the exception of atonal music, which I don't know about you, but I don't know of any atonal radio stations or Spotify stations. I'm sure someone's got a Spotify station on it. But atonal music is using all the notes of the scale, and basically it's a mess. It just sounds like what is going on. Okay, that's why it's not a super popular genre. Anyhow, with that being said, the major scale is fairly simple. You've heard it before. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. We could also count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, because 1 and 1 are the same. Those are octaves of each other, right? So really we're talking about 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 1 finishes it's just coming back home. That's basically what we're doing, bookending it, okay? And each one of those, you can think about these, instead of like thinking about it like G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, instead of thinking that way, just think about them as the numbers. This way you just have to learn one form, as I teach in the course, and then you can play it in all keys, and you don't have to think sharps or flats. Literally right now, I'm taking this scale, playing it in all keys, never once thinking about a sharp or a flat, because it's the same exact form. If I was on the piano, I wouldn't be able to do that. I would have to know all the sharps and flats, okay? But with guitar, you don't have to. You just know the form, and then you can work from there. Now, with that being said, it's also very helpful because when we're changing keys, the 1 is the 1 in the key of G. There it is. The 1 is the 1 in the key of A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. The 1 is the 1 in the key of C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. It's always the 1. So it's basically, instead of calling it these letters which change, because a C in the key of G is a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a C, and it's a 4 in the key of G. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But in the key of C, it's the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And so that even makes it more confusing because now the C, which we're calling a C, is different for 2 different keys. And in fact, it's different for 12 different keys. So, oh Lord, that's going to make things really difficult, right? Yeah, it is. So let's learn it with the numbers. It makes things so much easier. If you want a lot more detail about that, on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage Nashville number. Nashville number. It's called the Nashville number system. It's also called the number system, but that you can easily find it by typing YourGuitarSage Nashville number, and I'll explain it more in detail in there. But when we think about the scales this way, then what happens is we can know what chords are what. So for instance, here's our scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And that's in the key of G major. Not that that matters. We could do this in any key. Those numbers will work. But here's how the chords stack up. Are you ready? This is where it's at. This is where you want to get your pencil out. Pencil. People use pencils? Get your pen out. So 1 would be major. 2 would be minor. 3 would be minor. 4 is major. 5 is major. 6 is minor. 7's diminished. And we're back to 1 again, which is major. So it goes major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, back to 1. And this works the same for every single key. Now, it's not to say that we can't change those chords up, but these are the ones that naturally occur. They're naturally created through harmony, through what we call diatonic harmony, essentially through the major scale. If we use harmony, which is just adding notes on top of other notes to create harmony, then what happens is when we go right down the scale or right up the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, it creates all these different flavored chords. Okay, now if you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, I have many videos on this, and in fact I just did another series on it that should be out soon. I did like 4 hours of videos, and then I didn't like one little thing that I did, so I just threw them all away, and we spent many more hours redoing that entire course. So, because I want things to be right for you. All that to say, we got to know the major scale, and then we got to understand that the chords that are related to that are really easy. It's just major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Back to major again. So another way to think about it is 1, 4, and 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and 7 is diminished. That's another way to think about it. Now, I can hear some of you saying, yeah, but this guy's only considering the major key. He's not even considering the minor key. Oh, but I am. Because if you consider the 6 as being, now I know I'm going to lose some of you. If I do, that's okay. Don't worry about it. This is just for the folks that are questioning me regarding the minor scale. When we're talking about the 6 of the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is the minor scale. So if you consider the 6 as being your tonal center, like before we were considering the 1 being our tonal center, then all the chords match the same. So if we're starting on the 6, it goes minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, major, major. Okay, that's just for the folks that just questioned that. Okay, for the rest of you, don't even worry about it. You'll get into it. And like I said, I teach this in more detail in other videos. We can't go too far down the rabbit hole here, otherwise we're going to get lost if we haven't already. Okay, so let's keep it simple, stupid. or keep it stupid simple, keep it, something like that. So last time I'm going to mention it. Here we go. We got the scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and the chords go like this. Write it down. Major 1, minor 2. I can hear you scribbling. Minor 3, major 4, major 5, minor 6, diminished 7, and back to our major 1 again. Now, what else can I tell you about that? Oh yeah, we can go outside of this. We can change this up, but these are the ones that naturally occur. And I always compare this to painting. We could, or I tell you what, yes, painting. Let's talk about, if you've ever seen anything by Salvador Dali, he's got these elephants that have these super long, skinny legs, and these elephants are like balancing on these like crazy legs. But you can look at it and know it's an elephant, but no elephant on earth has these legs like this. So is it to say that someone should say to this amazing artist, well, you painted the legs wrong? No, of course not. He did that purposely to make a point or to make a bizarre picture or whatever. So we can change these chords if we want. That's art. There's nothing saying you can't, but I'm just saying the math that dictates these chords is a truism. It's just a fact. It's math. It can't be argued. It's just math. Unless 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it can't be argued. Okay. But if you want to decide to change one of those chords, you can do it, and it's going to change how the melody might sound and those sorts of things. That's all. Okay. If you want to investigate that subject further, I would highly advise you to know a lot more about music before getting into it, or you're just going to get really, really confused. But the subject's called borrowed chords. But again, I wouldn't even touch it unless you're really familiar with what I've talked about here, because it's just going to confuse you more. Okay? All right, great stuff, friends. So that's what we're talking about here. If I've missed anything, we're going to take that in the questions here, okay? So we're going to start answering some questions right now. We're going to do that on Facebook, and we're going to do that on YouTube. So really quickly, while I'm pulling all that up, and so get your questions ready on YouTube. You can you can put up questions if you want there, but nonetheless, I'm going to start on Facebook here. Okay, so while we're waiting for those questions to pop up, because it takes a moment here. We're about 30 seconds behind. You're seeing me 30 seconds behind when I said something. So if I say something right now, I really just said it 30 seconds ago. Time warp. Okay, another dimension. All right, so here we go. So make sure you share, please. And we will pick 5 winners after this broadcast that will get something. Either, like I said, either the ebook set or a book from me signed, that sort of thing. We always like to reward our folks who are sharing. So 5 winners will be chosen. All right, so here we go. I'm going through the questions here on Facebook, and usually there's not a lot. Somebody said bring Tux in. Tux is my kitten, who you might have seen in social media here just the other day. Cute little guy. He's upstairs. He can't come down here because he makes a mess of things. I love him, but he's got to be upstairs. Can you show us how to use diminished chords in a popular chord progression? Well, sure. Let's see here. So that's one little chord progression that's kind of fun. That's kind of a classic sound right there, and it's used a lot in jazz. Is this walking from the 1 chord to the 2 minor? Remember we said the 1 is major and the 2 is minor? And that's what we just did there, right? It's not a coincidence. It's how music is created, and it's the construct of music. It's basically like the solar system or it's an architecture of something, it's gravity. It's how music works. So it should be very important to you. It should really spark your interest and really get you hyped up on it. It's not just playing riffs and jamming out on chords. Any monkey can do that, right? Nothing against monkeys out there, because I know we got a few monkeys watching, but nothing against you guys. You know what I'm talking about, right? So, so when you go from the 1 chord to the minor chord, from the 1 major to the 2 minor, in this case I'm just doing a 2 minor 7. You can throw that diminished chord in there, and the bass line would go. And then I also threw in a 5 chord, 5 major. Ooh, how did I know to do major? Because I just told you, right? And that's just song structure. So here's the 1, here's the 2 minor, and then there was this 5 chord, major chord. And so basically you throw that diminished chord in between there. So that one is used a lot in jazz, and that's the way that you're going to see it. It's a go between the 1 and the 2. It can be between other chords too, but oftentimes it's a walk through. You know, it's a walking bass line. Okay, that's a great question, by the way. How to arpeggios, Micah. Basically, now I have a lot more detail on this, and you're going to hear me say this a lot. I'll be referring to other videos. I'm not tricking you. It's just that, again, if every question that was asked of me in these broadcasts, if I went into the depth like I do in these videos on YouTube and inside the courses and stuff, we'd be here all day long. We obviously can't do that, so I've got to refer you to these other videos. I'm not tricking you. I'm just going to give you the basics. An arpeggio is a chord that's broken. So this is an arpeggio. You know? These are arpeggios. We're just taking a chord and breaking the notes up. That's all. You can hold a chord, play it just like that, arpeggio. Or you can do like a sweep pick arpeggio, like, which is basically taking the chord and muting the notes after you play them. I talk about both of those on YouTube. Just search YourGuitarSage arpeggios. If you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System course, obviously there's a lot more detail, and I go over a lot of sweep picking and stuff in there as well. Just type in the little search engine, just type in arpeggios if you're in Unstoppable Guitar System. Okay, Jude is saying that whammy bar for the Danny Electro is jangling loosely, and I noticed that in other videos, is that by design? Yeah, I mean, I can tighten it up like that. So if I want, you just kind of twist it and... But I like to, you know... But I always like to, I kind of like the whammy bar to hang a little bit out of the way, because I don't like it sitting right here. But yeah, I can just twist on like that, you know? Easy enough, right? Yeah, great questions. Do I need to memorize the whole 5 major scale patterns, or just one would do? Bassam is saying, just start with one and get really familiar with it. I have a few videos, obviously in the courses, you know where to find it. If you're in the courses, you know where to find those. I'll try not to refer to those. But if you're on YouTube, you can easily just search like YourGuitarSage major. And basically what I tell you is get to learn that one scale really well, and then you can move out to the other forms. It's basically just like other ways to play the exact same scale. In fact, I have another video on YouTube. It's called Know One Scale, Know Them All. And that video got a lot of love because it explained that really we're talking the same notes. I'm playing the same scale all over the neck, but it's the same notes by name, same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. You know, it's the same notes. So just learn the one, and then you can start figuring out how that works all over the fretboard. In fact, you can know all of those 5 by just knowing that one form if you watch that video. Great question. Is a chord progression always thought as the 1, 4, 5 notes? Jonathan, I'm not sure the way you phrase that, what you mean by that. The most common chord progression is a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. You hear it in blues all the time, you know. 4 or 1, 4, 5. I mean, there's a million songs written off of that, right? So it's a very common chord progression, but I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Brian's saying, when I'm strumming, the pick rotates outward away from the strings and I have to stop and rest it. Is that because I'm using too thick of a pick? That's what I suspect. I don't know what thickness pick you're using, Brian, but yeah, I talk about that in the free course. I talk about the thickness of your pick and the different types of picks you may want to consider. If you're strumming, you typically want a pick that's thinner. I suggest like a 0.6 millimeters, it'll say 0.60 on it. 0.60 or lower. That usually is a good roundabout figure. Some folks like to have a thicker pick, but when strumming, that's a good gauge that can really keep things from the pick from tugging out of your hands. Great. How do you make a chord diminished? Very easy, Kevin. And in fact, I'll tell you what, on Saturday we're going to be covering that in a lot of detail, but I'll tell you really quickly what it is. If you take a minor chord and if you know where the fifths are, the 5 part of the chord, lower that a half step, you get a diminished chord. Now I know that probably doesn't make sense to you right now. And that's okay, because there's other information that we need that's going to get us there. But if you know where the 5 is at, you just lower that down a half step, and then you get that diminished chord. So if you know the scale, this is where I said that the major scale is so important. If we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's how you figure out where your 5 is. So if we're playing an E minor chord, and we want to make it diminished, we use our major scale to find the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we lower that a half step, and now we play our same minor chord but with that lowered 5th, and now we have our diminished chord. It's literally that easy. There's like 2 steps, but sometimes it has to be explained a few times. You know what I'm saying? So watch, everybody. By the way, if I didn't mention it, on Saturday, I did mention it. I'll be teaching you over 120 chords in a way that I promise you're going to visually see this. And we're going to be working with a whiteboard. I'll be standing up the whole time, so it's going to be a different feel. But I'm going to have a whiteboard here. This is the big series that I just did inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. I'm going to be giving you a snippet of it on Saturday. I say a snippet. I'll probably be hanging out with you for like 3 hours, but nonetheless, I'll be showing you some stuff that is really going to help you a lot. Okay, so that being said, I'll teach you how to do that. Will I teach you the diminished chord? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I don't know if I do or not, but I definitely do that in the course. I'll be teaching you major, minor, suspended, but all in every single key over 120 chords, okay? All right, that's good. All right, so, all right, and also, friends, please put a question mark behind every question. If it's a question, put a question mark, because I scan through these pretty quickly. And if I don't see that, I'm not going to know it. Okay, I'm not going to see it as a question. Yeah, 1 millimeter, Brian, is really thick for what you're trying to do. That's probably why it's pulling out of your hand. Another thing you can do is walk around with the pick in your hand all the time. And then what will happen is you will literally just get used to having it, Hey, he's a monkey. Alan's saying, okay, I'm on YouTube. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning here. And I'm going to look for anything with a question mark. If I don't see a question mark, I'm not even going to look at it. That's how I roll. Is the giveaway today? No, it's on Saturday. If you're talking about this guitar clash with Caesar, which, by the way, is an epic name, then no. That will be on Saturday. I'm going to be giving this away and a lot of other stuff. Lifetime memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System, all. And yeah, that was a police track. That was Don't Stand So Close to Me, except I changed the key of it. So the dang YouTube video down. Is this a cage lesson, I take it? No, it's not. Although I do have, thank you Mary Beth for sharing that twice. I so appreciate that. The cage system, which by the way, if you don't know that, is a great, fantastic way to be able to play your chords. The same chord all over the neck using the C form, A form, G form, E form, and D form. I have a video for that, maybe several videos on YouTube regarding that. So killer video, you got to check that out. Obviously, if you're inside UGS, you're going to find all sorts of videos regarding that are going further down the rabbit hole to get you many, many, many more chords under your belt. Cool? Yeah. All right, so questions. Looking for that question mark. If there's no question mark, I'm flying, all right? I'm flying through these. Otherwise, it's just... Is the reply on this going to be uploaded? The reply. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Mr. Pirate Brain, which, by the way, is an amazing name as well. Mr. Pirate Brain. Is the reply on this going to be uploaded? This video will be uploaded when we're done here. So if that's your answer, if that's your question, then yes, it will be. But as far as what you guys are writing, I think that goes away. All right, great questions. Good questions here, friends. Okay, how to know what key a song is in. Okay, Verdi, I'll give you a small version of this because I have videos on this on YouTube. If you'd like to know more about it, just type in YourGuitarSage key, K-E-Y. But here's how to know. Here's a few things to determine the key of a song. I always think about it as being a detective and we're trying to uncover a crime because we're looking for clues. And there are some telltale clues that you can find right away, which will almost always tell you who done it. Okay, but then there's some other things that you can look at too. They're a little bit more complex, but those will almost always tell you, whereas the other ones usually tell you. The first chord of the song is usually the key of the tune. Okay, the first chord is usually the key. Why is that? Well, because let's think about it for a minute. If we're trying to set a scene for a movie, if it's a horror movie, it's probably not going to start off with a love scene unless someone's going to get skewered in a hammock or something like that, like in Friday the 13th. It's not going to start off with something like that, although horror movies kind of do that to kind of mess with you. They start off with a fun little scene and then it gets scary. But if it's let's say if it's a funny movie, it's probably not going to start off with a bloodbath, okay? And that's the reason being is you came there to see a comedy. So it's setting a scene. There's always this beginning scene. I always think about Bridesmaids in the beginning, the intro to that movie. It's funny, right? And it's setting a scene of what is to come. And so a good song will do the same thing because it would be really disruptive to just jump into the verse right away and there's nothing in the beginning of the song that gets you warmed up to the tempo, the vibe of the song, the key, those sorts of things. So the first chord, and same thing with the first chord progression, is you typically will start with the key. So like you had a song that was like the old classic 50s progression. So that first chord is the key. It's in the key of C. That's one clue. The other clue you want to look for is what's the last chord of the song. Now, if the song fades out, well, that's unfortunate for you because you didn't hear what the band did that went away because it's a fade out. You don't get to hear that part. So if it's unfortunate, sorry, you won't know what the end of the chord is. But if you do hear it and it goes... Thank you, everybody. Good night. When you hear that cadence happen, that's the end of the song, and that's why people always clap at the right time, is because it's kind of like saying, hey, here we go, we're doing this. Classical music does that whole or something like that. You know, there's always this cadence that says, hey, this is the end of the song. That's that. So that's the other thing that you can do. And then lastly, you could use the Pentatonic Scale. I have videos for this on YouTube. Just type in YourGuitarSage Pentatonic. But what I'll do is if I'm unsure about something, well, first I do use those few little techniques. I just use my basic idea, my knowledge of the chords. So you know how we learned that the 1, the 4, and the 5 are major, and the 2, 3, 6 are minor, and the 7 is diminished. Well, if I see a G chord and a C chord and a D chord, I don't have to guess what key it's in. I know it's in the key of G because when the 1, 4, and 5 are major, it's such a strong pull that it's in the key of that the G is major, then it's just not even funny. So understanding the Nashville number system, like I talked about, is also huge. So I won't have to play a pentatonic scale or noodle over the top of it to determine that. I'll do that to triple check. But 99 times out of 100, if I know what the chords are in a song, I can tell what key it's in just from the fingerprint of those diatonic chords, those chords that naturally occur because of the major scale. Okay, that's a great song, by the way. What guitar am I using? This is the 59 XT. This is a Dan Electro 59 XT. And Ablin, I'm giving this guitar away on Saturday. So make sure that you guys check out YourGuitarSage.com/live to know more about that. If you are not registered already, you need to register. Here's the deal. If you want to win this guitar, if you want to win the pedals, if you want to win the lifetime memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System and all the other stuff we give away, the only way to be entered into that is to register. And you do that by going to YourGuitarSage.com/live. Don't forget, do it right now. Open up another tab and do it, or write it on your hand or your forehead so that when you go to the mirror tonight and you look in the mirror, you can you go, oh yeah, I got to do that, because that's 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday morning. Okay, that's when the fun's gonna begin. Okay, sweaty hand problems. Ann Fender is saying sweaty hand problems. I don't have any, thank you. You're probably saying, what do you do about sweaty hand problems? I'd cut the AC down. Maybe take off a sweater or something, because I don't know why your hand would be sweaty. It's probably because you're warm, right? I would think. I've never heard of just the hand getting sweaty. I might want to see a doctor about that, Ann. No, honestly, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I've never heard of that, so that's why I'm a little bit, I don't understand that one. Any creative way to memorize the fretboard? Ablin's saying, yes. Number one, follow me, hit subscribe, all that good stuff, because that's so much of what I teach. It's a step-by-step process, Ablin. If you don't see, people always want to skip videos. They'll say, I can't do that beginner stuff. I need some more advanced stuff. And they get to the advanced stuff and they're like, well, I'm lost. Of course you are, because you didn't do the basic stuff. And guess what? The most important stuff, the stuff that I use 99% of the day when I'm playing guitar, is in that beginner stuff. Not the advanced stuff. Everybody thinks that, if I learn more, I'm gonna be better. No. Apply the basics that you know. That's how to get really good. Learning more is not going to do anything for you. You know, knowledge is power. Bull crap. Knowledge is nothing. Knowledge is potential power. It's words in a book. It does nothing for you. If you apply a little bit of knowledge, well, now you got wisdom. Now you're actually doing something. But knowledge is not power. The application of knowledge is powerful. So, Ablin, watch those first 30 videos that I'm giving you for free. The link's in the description of this video. All right, that's where to start, my friend, and I have all sorts of ways to show you how to do that, you know, to learn the fretboard, that is. All righty, I just kind of lost my place here. Okay, here we go. I'm back. I'm still on YouTube looking at questions. Please make sure you put a question mark, because I'm going too quick. And 11 a.m. Central Standard Time is going to be the broadcast on Saturday. When I change from, Tim is saying, when I change from a D7 to a C7, my pinky tends to overshoot the 4th fret, and I have to bring it back. Do you have a trick fix for that? Tim, yes, it's practice the C. I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but it's practice the D7 to the C7 over and over again. Don't strum it. Just go D7, C7, D7, C7, D7, C7. But do it slow. Don't do it fast like I did. Go real slow. and build your chord the same way every single time. That is the fastest way you're going to learn it, and it's the only real way to learn it. There is not a trick. The trick is learning how to hyper-focus and taking everything else out, the stuff you're not using. Don't put strumming in there. Why are you doing that? You can strum. You know you can strum. Leave it away. You know you're having a problem forming the chord, so do it over and over again. There's no trick other than actually doing what it is you're trying to do. And in fact, that right there, that little piece of information right there may not sound very big to you, but if you truly took that to heart and you applied all of your training on anything, but especially guitar, if you did this, you would save yourself so much time, get to the places you want to get to so much quicker, way less heartache, no frustration, because it's not about speed, it's about accuracy. Accuracy begets speed. It births speed. It's never the other way around. You can't be fast without being accurate. I've seen guitar players like that, and they sound terrible, and it's embarrassing because they're acting like they're playing fast and they're playing inaccurate, so that doesn't count. Fast doesn't count if you're inaccurate. If I race a car as fast as I can, I just floor it and I'm running into people and the wall and everything else, I don't think they're going to ask me back to NASCAR, right? I don't think so. Okay. The giveaway will be worldwide, right? It is, yes. It is worldwide. Oh, as far as, if you're saying, can this guitar be shipped worldwide? Probably not, no, because you would not believe how much it is to actually ship a guitar worldwide. It's absolutely crazy. However, if you are the winner and let's say you're in another country and we can't get the guitar to you, or it's going to be way too expensive to get the guitar to you, we will do something. We will do something for you. Give you a lifetime membership to the Unstoppable Guitar System. Something. We'll do something amazing, okay? Sharon, I'm waiting for your explanation, Mr. Eric, about what? You probably put something up without a question mark, but you did it just now, so that's good. Isn't the last note also in a score? Keith is saying, yeah, a lot of times the last note of a song or the first note of the song is also will oftentimes tell you what the key of the song is. Mike's saying the chat doesn't go away. Okay. My upstrum always grabs the high E string, and that's what I hear. How do I fix that? Gene, you're conscious of it, you're aware of it. Now what I want you to do is be conscious of it. So as you're strumming, slow it down. Anytime you slow something down or break something down, you get more detail, right? If you can't see something here, I do this with my kid all the time. We go in the front yard and we lay in the front yard and we just look, we peer into the grass and we see just insane stuff that you've never seen before, all sorts of bugs and crazy things happening, because you know, if you're 5 feet up here and you're looking down, you're not going to see it, right? So you got to get down there, and that's what we're going to do with the strumming is, if you're hitting that string all the time, don't hit that string all the time. And the way to do that is to be observant and to be hyper-focused on it, and the way to do that is to slow it down so you're not just like, well, I don't understand. He said focus on it, and I'm doing this, and it's not happening. Well, if I'm hitting the high E string too much, well, I'm going to start emphasizing more of the internal strings, you know, and the lower strings, and maybe straying away from that high E string. With that being said, there may be something you may, you know, if it's an electric guitar, your pickup may be picking that string up a little bit more than another, or there may be something kind of goofy with that string. But chances are it's just that you're strumming that one. It's the first string that your pick is hitting on the upstrum. You might try a thinner pick too. So it's definitely going to get the brunt of the hurricane force of your strum, okay? After you find the key, how do you determine what scale you should play? Easy. If it's a G major key, then you could use G major for the scale. If it's A minor key, you use the A minor scale. Or you could insert the word pentatonic scale for either one of those. If it's G major, then you could use G major pentatonic. If it's A minor, you could use A minor pentatonic. That's all you do, you know? All right, great. Do I mean WikiHow? Oh, I think you guys are talking amongst yourself there. I just finished that series on the Unstoppable Guitar System last night. It's quite a learning experience that I will go back to review over and over. Are you going to be adding any onto that on Saturday? Mary Beth is saying, yeah, Mary Beth, I will be adding onto that on Saturday. I'll be getting to now. You're going to get way more inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, but I'm gonna throw something else out there on Saturday. Indeed. I'm also going to be changing it up on you, Mary Beth. So that one that series that you saw that you went through, I'm actually changing it up. I'm changing the colors of the chords, which is not going to be that big of a deal. All the concepts are the same, and you don't have it so integrated yet to where it's going to bother you. I promise you, you're going to get it because I've come up with a different methodology, different color scheme that's going to make more sense than what I originally used. Trust me, I didn't want to go over and redo all these videos again, but I really felt like it would help you guys more, and that's why I did it, you know. Froggy, should I give you my address now? I like Froggy's attitude. That is positive thinking there. Should you give me, Frog's asking, should I give you my address now, right, to win the guitar? When do we start? When do you start what? Whatever it is, start now. That's your answer. Verdi is saying, if you can't change chords, then you suck. Verdi obviously came out of the womb playing guitar, ladies and gentlemen. So Verdi, amazing. I would like to meet you, and I would love to have heard your first chord, because and you must be an amazing player too, because if you're talking smack like that, you better have some amazing videos for us to see. That's not true at all. If you can't change chords, then you suck. That is not true at all, because you, Verdi, sucked at one point because you couldn't change chords. That's how it works. And no one can change chords at first. It's a ridiculous thing to say. I'm sorry, Verdi, but I've got to call BS when I see it. I'm sorry. You're good. You're a good person in your core. I believe you are. I believe your mom loves you, and I love you too. But that's just not true at all. It just means you hadn't practiced enough. That's all. That's all it means. Okay, Vinay is saying, books on what? Okay, you guys are talking amongst yourself. There's how to learn changing chords for beginners. Please help. How to learn changing chords. You're watching it, Random. You're watching it right now. How to learn changing chords for beginners. Please help. You're watching it, Random. We're here. You're here, and we're doing that. And the PDF that I've created for you that you can click on the link that's in the description of the video will help you even more. So you're in the right place, Random. You just probably came a little late, and that's okay. I understand. I practice, but I feel like I'm no better than I was when I started. Why? Because you're thinking that you're practicing a lot is not practicing a lot, number one. And number two, you're probably, well, that's like 90% of it. You think you're practicing a lot and you're not. And number two, you're probably practicing the wrong stuff. This is why you gotta get in that free course, because I show you exactly what to practice. A lot of people will practice the wrong things. I did it for years. I'd practice my scales, faster, scales. And it's like, I'd have been better off to be practicing improvisation and those sorts of things more than just playing through scales over and over again. So that is why you're not feeling that progression. Also, if you're just practicing the same stuff all the time, then you're just gonna get the same result all the time. When I work out, I try to outdo what I did the last time or do something different, because if you do the same thing every time, why would you expect a different result? That's like doing math, and I'm not picking on you, Bug. I'm saying this like to the ether, right? Why would we expect that adding 2 + 2 every single day might one day equate to a different number, right? So you got to change it up. You got to do stuff different, and you got to have some sort of structure. If you don't have some sort of structure, you're going to pick up and play the guitar and play the same things every time. How good can you get on the C chord? It's a C chord. You got to move on, right? How to learn changing chords for beginners. Please help. Random. You're here, my friend. What's the most common chord progression in the whole world? The most common chord progression in the whole world is the 1-4-5 chord progression. Okay. Oh, Random, were you being silly? Is that Della's laughing here? I might be a victim of a joke here. How many times are you going to repeat the same line writer? What's his videos? Jeez. Are you talking to me? I don't know. What to learn? Changing chords for beginners. Please help. Random, dear Lord in heaven above. I'm not even gonna answer that one anymore. That's just now you're getting weird, Random. For God's sake, please reply to me. You're obviously not paying attention here, pal. What? No fairies, elves, or gnomes in your yard? Jerry's saying. Okay, Aman is saying, Eric, please suggest electric guitar starter pack. I'm a beginner, under $300. Guitars should be Les Paul style. Please reply. It's important for my guitar playing career. Aman. Go with the Epiphone Les Paul. That's the most affordable one, and it's a good one. It's not bad at all. Nothing to say about that other than, you know, it's a less than $300 guitar. So, but it plays really well. I have a problem with my pinky when I do soloing. What should I do? Practice your pinky. Use your pinky. Use exercise number 2 in the free course. How to practice with a metronome to play solos and lead. I have videos for that on YouTube. Type in YourGuitarSage metronome. How do you play an H diminutive minor Lydian major chord scale? Oh, we got a funny one there. We got a funny one. Got a funny. He's the class clown right there. How do I stay motivated when practicing for hours and hours and not seeing any improvement? You got to change it up, Bug. And you asked that a similar question earlier, right? You got to change it up. You got to find more inspiration, more songs. Be diverse in the songs that you listen to. Learn licks, learn chords, learn chord progressions, work with tabs, work with chord charts. Get yourself in a good guitar system where you're learning stuff. Practice songs off YouTube. Practice with other musicians. Practice to jam tracks. Practice to metronomes. Just change it up all the time, because you're going to find one time something's super boring and another time it's exactly what the doctor ordered. Okay? Cool. All right. Verdi was joking. Okay. Oh, Verdi was joking. Oh, I'm so sorry, Verdi. I'm a wiener. I'm so sorry. Okay, the notes in a major scale have the progression: whole step, half. Hold on. Whole step, whole step, whole step, whole half. Oh, I see. Whole step, whole half, whole half. How did you derive the major, minor, diminished? Please explain. Rahan, I can't explain without really going into a lot of detail. But essentially I can tell you this, and if you don't get it from this is where all the detail comes in from. Harmony is when we take more than one note and we play it at more than one note at a time. Melody is one note. Harmony is when we play two or more notes at a time. And if we were to play the 1 and the 3 in the scale, that's harmony. If we played the 2 and the 4, those harmonize together. If we play the 3 and the 5, and we keep, if we just kind of go up, if they move up the scale like that, so the 1 and the 3, the 2 and the 4, the 3 and the 5, the 4 and the 6, the 5 and the 7. If we do that, we have this harmony sounding. Well, if we took the 1, the 3, and the 5, we get a chord. 3 or more notes make a chord. So if we do 1, 3, 5, we get a major chord. 2, 4, 6, we get a minor. 3, 5, 7, we get a minor. So we get major, minor, major, minor, diminished. That's how we do it. That's the quickest, most full way I can explain it in just a nutshell. So hopefully you got that. If you didn't, like I say, you got to drill down and you got to get into more detail, you know. Thank you, Mr. Pirate Brain. Great video. I used to play, but I stopped for 10 years. Your videos have helped me a lot. Great. Thank you so much. Random got answered. Yes. What sort of practice regimen do you recommend? I recommend changing it up all the time. Don't do the same thing all the time. Obviously, it's different for beginners. It's different for if you want to play blues. It's different than if you wanted to be a studio guitar player. Different than if you want to be a jazz guitar player. So practice the things that jazz players practice if you want to be a jazz player. Blues players, practice what they practice. On YouTube, I have several videos for this. Search YourGuitarSage practice, because I go into more detail about this. But if you're a beginner, practice everything in the first 30 lessons. Don't practice anything else. If you're in kindergarten, I'm not going to tell you to get out your algebra books, right? You're going to be coloring and doing stuff like that. Same thing with guitar. Don't go further than you should. There's no glory in being an idiot and taking a video that you're just not going to understand and starting with that. That's like going to the gym and being that guy who's like, I don't need these little weights, and you lift this big weight and all of a sudden that thing just comes down on you and you look like a big buffoon. Don't be that guy or gal. Go through every video, learn every little piece, like every great guitar player since the beginning of time has done. Okay? If you think that you could skip something, then you will be an anomaly. You will be unlike anybody who's ever lived in the existence of man. Okay, you will be the exception. So if you want to try to go that route, you can do it, but alas, it's going to be very embarrassing. It's going to save you. It's going to waste a lot of your time. Do step by step. It's going to be what you need, and just be sure, not sure, but be committed to doing each step. Okay. That's a great question, though. What should you practice? I get that all the time, and it's true. You know, how do you practice? What do you do? You know. It's all right, Random. You're okay, man. You are okay. We're all here. We're all good. We're all a lot of love. No problem. Do you have an improv and solo tips video? I have lots of them on YouTube. Type in YourGuitarSage solo or improvisation. Type in, anytime I say this stuff, you type in YourGuitarSage and whatever it is I'm talking about. Like call and response. That's one you want to look up. Minimalistic blues. Those will help out a ton, Robert. Watch those, okay? Any tips for playing pinch harmonics? Yeah, pinch harmonic is when you play in the low. Is when you play when you get this type of sound, right? You're like. It's that kind of sound, and it's like real squealy and right? And the way you do that is you take your pick, and I have a video for this on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage pinch or YourGuitarSage harmonics, because I have several videos on it, and it's going to cover one of those. But the idea is when you pick a note, the string comes off of the pick and touches your finger just a little bit. So instead of picking like this, I kind of get the pick a little bit closer to my finger, but everybody will come up with their own technique. Bottom line, what happens is you want the string, the ringing string, to barely touch your finger for just a split second, and that's what creates that sound. Now, here's like 3 or 4 things that if you do this, you're going to have way more luck of this happening. Start with the lower strings. Start with the lower frets. Make sure you have a lot of overdrive happening. And when you do let the string hit your finger, don't let it hit the finger too long. It's a split second type of thing, right? So you can hear some of them aren't even happening there. Okay, it's kind of obnoxious, but you get the idea, right? Pinch harmonics, right? Great. Do you recommend practicing while sitting, then start standing, or start standing from the beginning? I'd say start sitting, because you're going to be there a long time and get comfortable and what have you. But practicing is standing up is fine too, you know. Sometimes hunching over too much and find myself with my elbow on my knees is that terrible, terrible habit that I must break immediately. No, not necessarily, but not good for your back, you know, and your just all that, your posture. So. Sharon, if you have a problem with your pinky, use your pinky. Practice exercise number 2 that's in the free course. You're going to see that. The link for that's in the description of the video. Practice exercise number 2. It specifically works on that lazy-ass pinky. It's lazy. It's lazy for everybody. Look at your hand. Number 1, it's short, and look at how far away it's from your thumb. Okay? Whether you believe in whatever you believe in, we've been here for a little while on the earth, and because of that, we've used our hands quite a bit, and our thumb is so close to our first finger that it gets a lot of use. But this doesn't happen a lot. I don't know about you, but I don't pick up picks like, I don't hold my pick like that. You know, that'd be real weird. I hold it like this, and that should be enough information for you to understand that that is a lazy little booger. So it needs practice. You just got to use it all the time. And so exercise number 2 will get that for you. It's in the free course. How many hours a day should I practice guitar? You guys, you know me, you know my motto on this. If you're perfectly all right with sucking, don't practice that much. If you love mediocrity and you're like, man, I just love the sound of things being okay and just being, you know, kind of good, then practice, you know, just a medium amount. Don't practice that much. But if you want to be really good at something, if you want to be exceptional, don't be asking how many hours you want to practice. I mean, I know what you're saying, Bug. I'm not picking on you. Would never pick on Bug. But if you want to be really good at something, you want to just go for it. Just just be obsessed with it. Practice it all the time. That's what you want to do, you know? What do rock metal guitarists should practice? And practice practice metal songs. Practice your favorite metal songs. Practice power chords and metal songs. That's what you want to do. In fact, that's the best way at any genre that you like. Practice the songs of that genre. It's going to get that whole sound in your ear. You're going to get familiar with all that bit. But you really want to get the basics down first. You don't want to start delving into genres, because now you're talking about specific techniques. If you don't have the first techniques down, then learning the more advanced techniques is not going to be very easy. In fact, it's going to be harder, you know. Rohan is saying, I can shift from A major to E major chord. What's the next shifting I should learn, which is used a lot currently in practicing E to A, A to D7? In the free course, there's something called the 9 essential chords. Literally, if you learn those 9 chords, you will be able to play millions of songs. I'm not exaggerating. Let's say I am exaggerating. You'll at least be able to play hundreds of thousands of songs, okay? I'm not joking, but I'm saying millions of songs. I 100% guarantee that. Know those 9 chords and know how to switch between those chords. Those are the ones you would use the most. If you're trying to drill down beyond that, you know, G to C, C to D, G to D, those are used very often, a lot. How many hours a day should I practice? We covered that one, right? As many as possible. That's how much you should practice. Okay, my hands tend to be small for songs played by males. Number 1, Gigi, watch my video on YouTube. In fact, type in YourGuitarSage, small hands. I have a video specifically for you. It's really important that you listen to me and write this down. Write it down. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Well, I'm saying this over and over again. Go and write it down or something. If you think you have small hands, watch that video, okay? And then watch my videos of the guys with no arms playing with their toes. Watch that one. That'll get you to rethink about your hands. But that being said, how do I downsize the chords or learn to stretch? Okay, if you want to learn to stretch, and really we're not stretching, but we're just, we're calling it stretching, right? We're learning how to use our muscles in different ways. Practice, I believe it's exercise 3 inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. It may be in the free course as well. I'm not sure. But do that, okay? And if not, on YouTube, maybe type in YourGuitarSage stretch, because I think I have an exercise for that one. But more than anything, just practicing is going to get you there. You just practice everything without stretching, and you're going to start getting better at that without even understanding it, you know? Okay, Eric, I'm afraid that just learning from videos and other media that I am practicing bad habits, and without one-on-one learning, I am developing bad habits, etc. Suggestions? That would be true if you're learning online from someone who doesn't teach right. If they have an online course, they probably know how to teach. People usually don't start off teaching online. They usually have taught at home for a bit, or in an office, a music shop or something like that. So chances are if they have a course, they're probably going to be fairly set up right. But look at the ratings, on udemy.com, which if you don't know that, it's like YouTube on steroids. You pay for the videos, but they have courses. But we have the #1 guitar lesson series there. If you're looking for a cheap way to get in, that's a great way to do it. It's called the Complete Guitar System. But with that being said, one-on-one teachers are great, but it's expensive compared to, like right now, I'm reaching hundreds, maybe 1,000 people. I don't know. By the end of this, it'll be several thousand. But and I'm doing it with just one person here. Well, I mean, we've got other people. We got Chris on the board and stuff like that. But all that to say, we can reach a lot more people online. That's why online's so popular. But one-on-one's great because you can interact. But here we are interacting right now, right? So I would say get involved with a step-by-step course, which all my stuff is step-by-step. Hopefully anybody else who you're following, if you like them better, go with them. Go with the teacher that resonates best with you. Not me. If it's me, great. If it's somebody else, if it's Justin or Papa Stash or whatever, go with them. Go with who moves you. Make sure they have a step-by-step method, learning step-by-step. There is a method to learning guitar. You do learn addition before you learn subtraction. You learn subtraction before multiplication, multiplication before division, that sort of thing, right? So make sure it's step-by-step. Also make sure they have live lessons so where you can get your questions answered. And make sure that you can email them every day. With all my courses, that's what you get. You get to email me literally every single day, and you will get your questions answered. And then with the live broadcasts, that's what we're doing here, and we do that quite often. In fact, I have ones that are smaller with just my course people, okay? But it's so much cheaper to do online, so and I have a video for that. So you type in YourGuitarSage one-on-one versus online or something like that. I don't know the specific Epiphone model. You just have to look it up. It's cheap. It's on Amazon. That's how do I win that? Dan Electro, Bug is saying. Bug, go to yourguitarsage.com/live and register. If you don't register, you can't win it. You can still be there for the broadcast, but you won't get the PDF. You won't have access to a lot of stuff. So you got to register ahead of time. Then we've got your email. We can say, hey, you won this. Okay, that's how that works. How do you know how to play Whiskey Lullaby, song by Brad Paisley and Alison Krauss on guitar? How do you know how to play? Well, I don't personally play either one of those songs, although a buddy of mine actually wrote Whiskey Lullaby. A buddy in town here. But if I wanted to learn that, I would listen to the song and I would get the chords and I would play the chords. If that sounds mysterious, it's just because you don't have the know-how yet, but you can have it. I'm not special. I just learned over the years how to do it. Well, the way I teach is you learn it in months or even weeks, what it took me years to do. Okay, I'm trying to help you, you know. So make sure you get in a course that's showing you that stuff, my friends. If a song's in C major, is in the C major scale, notes will be C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So the chords that can be played on it will be C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, A minor, B diminished. Is that what you taught right now? Yes, Rehan, yeah. Rehan got it. So right there, cut and paste what Rehan just put there because my friend the light just went on for him. He is enlightened. All right. That's great. Good job, Rehan. Uh-oh, I lost myself again. Sometimes the chat goes so fast we're having that I get lost, okay? Okay, what can I do to get my hybrid double stops better? Vinny is saying. Practice them, Vinny. I've got videos on double stops, so you could watch that. But watch somebody who's really good at double stops. I'm not really good, or I should say, somebody who's really good at hybrid picking. I'm not really good at hybrid picking, so I would not be your guy. There are guys out there who are amazing hybrid pickers. So watch those guys. Corey Conglio, I think his name is, Conglio. He's got courses on TrueFire and stuff, and probably has stuff on YouTube. I don't know, but he's a great hybrid picker. But there's a million guys that are great pickers like that. But I am not your guy. I'm not a very good hybrid picker. I can fake it. I can do some basics, but I am not, like. And by the way, that's what hybrid picking is, when we use a pick and our fingers at the same time. But I'm not your guy to do that. I can just barely cover the basics. Your Guitar Sage Live is the address. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for putting that, John. I appreciate that, sir. Do you have any advice on finding your guitar sound without spending bajillions on pedals? Yes, chick. Indeed. Get the Line 6 M5 pedal. It's my favorite pedal in my pedal board. Chris, let's do that. Let's get a shot of the pedal board if we can. But it's called the Line 6 M5 pedal. It's this guy right here. So it's kind of a double pedal. It looks really, really expensive, and it's like one of the cheapest, one of the most affordable pedals on my board. It's maybe like $120, and it literally will do what all of these pedals will do, but will only do one of them at a time. That's why I need these other pedals. But amazing. Get that guy right there. It's like $120, and that will at least help with your sound and give you a great education on pedals. Great question. As you said, knowledge is temporary, but practice is the ultimate way to success. Question mark? Yes. Yeah. Then yes, it is. So how do I win that Dan Electro? Join me on Saturday. YourGuitarSage.com/live. Do you use any visualization techniques that you believe benefit your physical abilities? Blue is saying. This whole thing on Saturday is visualization. Okay? And now, if that's what you mean by visualization, yes. If you mean, like, do I think of myself as being some amazing guitar player that can rule the world and rule the internet and all this other stuff? Yes, absolutely. I do it all the time. I literally take time every single day and do this. So I highly believe in visualization. Not only do I believe in it, it's just a fact. Here's the deal. Watch this. You've seen this done before, right? Don't think of a pink elephant, right? Now all of a sudden you're thinking of a pink elephant. It's impossible to not think of a pink elephant. Or you do this every day. If you get in your car and you're going someplace, you visualize where it is that you're going to go. You don't just get in the car and then randomly end up where you're supposed to go. You visualize it first. You say, that's where I want to go. So it's impossible for us to not visualize, number one. And number two, the more you do it, the more planned out you're going to be, the better your life is going to go. Because at least if you're visualizing the right stuff, if you visualize yourself as being crap and that you suck at guitar and you're never going to get it, and because this person told you you're terrible and this, that, and the other thing, well, you're visualizing that, you're thinking it, and your thoughts create your emotions. So be thinking the right thoughts and visualizing. So if you're saying that, Wayne, yeah, I do. I visualize all the live long day. I do. I'm a big fan of all that stuff. I can't get my B chord sounding right. Any tips? Yes, practice it. I know that sounds ridiculous, but practice it. But here, you're in the right place. What we've done today is all about that. Also, make sure you're in the free course because I talk about stuff in more detail there. John's saying, hey, Chris. That's kind. Thank you. Yeah, Chris is one of my right-hand men. Jason's my other one. I've got other folks on my team, but Chris is in the trenches with me every day here, and he's a beast. He's in beast mode constantly, and I couldn't do this without him. He's a beast. Do you know how to play Lord, I Need You on guitar? I don't. I'm sorry, and I don't know that song off the top of my head. Are there any exercises for being able to identify a note by ear? On YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage ear. I've got videos for this. But I have exercises for you one called the hum and hunt method, which is basically you hum a note. Hold on. There it is. It's a B flat. So basically what you're doing is you hum a note and you say, well, is that note higher or lower? And then you find it. That's the simplest technique you can use, but if it's challenging to you, then don't try to get a harder exercise. Just practice that and get really good at that, okay? Oh, thank you for the kind words, Della, so kind. RJ is saying, what guitar would be good for rock? I'm looking at SG currently. Would that be a great choice? It'd be a fantastic choice. I love SGs. I have one, and I love it. Junior Ramos, can I play a song? Yes, I can play lots of songs. I do it all the time on social media and on YouTube. Do you know how to get better at playing guitar? Yes, it's all about practice. It's always practice. That's the only thing you can do is practice. That's the only thing that will get you there. There is no other thing. So the answer is practice. Okay. Does learning each canon help to instill the chord progression? Does learning each canon help to instill the chord progression? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Richard, and I'm sorry. I feel disappointed about my playing in the last year. What do I have to do? Should I keep playing and learning? Of course, that's the only way to get better. You've got to change it up. You've got to keep striving. If you don't, you'll just not. I mean, this is a basic principle, and I understand why you're asking the question, Alexandru. We all ask it. We say, why am I not losing weight? Why am I not getting better? Why is this going the same? Because you're doing the same thing all the time. You've got to change things up, and you have to measure it too. If you're trying to lose weight and you're like, well, man, I'm working out an hour every single day and nothing's changed. Well, did you increase how much you're eating? or I'm not eating this much, I'm still the same weight or whatever. Like, there's different things we can do. Obviously, with your playing, you can say, well, I'm not getting any better at chords. Well, are you practicing the same chords all the time? And if so, are you being hyper-focused and using the techniques we talked about here? So you've got to change things up. You've got to be obsessed. You've got to be, you've got to go after things. You can't do it. If you're disappointed, that's good. You can use that as fuel, but you've got to, don't disappoint yourself, but be brave enough to go in and learn this stuff and just, knock it out of the park. Because we all have, listen, there's no one listening to me right now that doesn't have the potential to be the next Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, name it, whoever you want. I know some of you are like, oh, whatever, he's just trying to sell stuff. If you're saying that to yourself, that is your problem, is because you don't believe. You can't, if you don't believe that you're going to live tomorrow, then well, that's a bad example. If you don't believe that you're going to be great, you probably aren't going to be great. What would happen if you had a child and you told them every day that they sucked and they're never going to make it? You think they may believe that, especially at a young age? I think so. What happens if you had a kid and you told them every day, you can do anything you want to do, you're amazing, you're beautiful, do you think they would smile, you think they would glow, you think they'd start believing it? Yeah, we're no different, because you know why? Because we are the children. We are the same bits and pieces there. It's just, you know what I'm saying? How do the caged chord shapes relate to the caged scale shapes? Confusing. Brian, I have lessons for this inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, but I was reluctant in creating them because to me, the cage system is great for understanding chords, but to understand scales, it's not like a big wow moment. And the way that I like to teach is when I teach something, I want you to go, wow, that's amazing. If it's not, it's like, why are we learning it? So even though I do teach it, I don't think it's a huge wow factor either. But some people see the shapes in there. I do. But it's not like so apparent and so obvious that there's this huge wow factor. So I know what you're saying. If you want to know more about that, Brian, I have lessons for that inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. Otherwise, like I said, even that being said, to me, there's not a huge wow factor that's just so brilliant. Like the stuff we're going to be talking about this weekend, massive wow factor. You're going to be like, holy cow, I have 120 new chords I can run away with. But cage system for scales, in my opinion, IMO is not, oh my God, that's amazing, Can you jam a bit on an A minor pentatonic so I can steal a couple of licks from you? Sure. Well, earlier, that chord progression that I was using, right? This right here. This is I put this in A minor basically, so. Hold on. I could do that all day long. I've got lots and lots of videos on that, but you want to make sure that you've got something that you can, a system that you can do. Yes, stealing licks and learning these licks from other players is really important. That's just like how we learn how to talk, right? But it's really important to understand what's happening and the reasons why. Like for instance, when I was doing this lick, right? It's called a sweep pick. And more importantly, I'm playing part of the chord here. Those are all notes out of that A minor chord, and I was playing those notes, and that's why they sound so nice, right? And by the way, that was mainly pentatonic, but I did play some other stuff, Is the anchor method legit? I'd have to know what the anchor method, I'd have to see what that is. Probably something that some guitar player made up so they can sell something. But I'll have to see. I'll have to see what you mean by the anchor method. If you're talking about like anchoring chords, like the cage system and that sort of thing, yes, that's like basically, you know, you got one note and then all these other bits and pieces kind of go out from it. So if that's what you're talking about, yeah, I mean, I use that all the time, but I don't know specifically about what you're calling the anchor method. Sorry, I wish I knew that. But I'll look it up after this, see if there's something I'm missing. Like for instance, the cage system. I remember for years I knew the cage system. I taught it, but I didn't teach it as the cage system. I remember one time many years ago on YouTube seeing something about or maybe it was a book. I don't know where it was, and I saw something about the cage system. I'm like, what is that? What is this cage system I keep seeing? I'm like, oh, well, I've taught that for forever, but I didn't call it the cage system. I just said, well, you can play these chords all over the neck. So it's funny. You throw a name on it, people love that. And that's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of nice to be able to have a thing that you can bring along with you, you know? Yes, indeed. Thank you, Chris and Jason, for all you do to help Eric. Yes, thank you. Is an A sharp and a B flat the same note? They are. Yes, this video will be reposted as well, Pirate. Wow. Okay, we have got lots and lots of questions, and unfortunately, friends, I've been going as fast as I possibly can go, and I just can't catch up with it. That's good news because that means more folks are watching and more folks are getting helped. All right, but alas, I'm getting really, really, really hungry, and we've got lots of people here on Facebook still, and lots of people on YouTube. I love it. I love it. Look, if you didn't get your question answered today, I want to get it answered for you, okay? I understand it's frustrating, especially if you've been in here a long time and you've been putting your questions up, but that's why I do it in order, because if you just joined me, then yeah, you probably wouldn't get your questions answered, but if you've been with me here since the beginning, you got your questions answered, I'm sure, because I've been going through these in order. So all that to say, you just kind of keep joining me here, because I've been doing this every week now, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. We try to do it every single week. Sometimes we miss, but be looking out for notifications. At least on Facebook, we'll usually post it. We'll say, hey, or upcoming events, I should say. And then on YouTube, typically we'll try to create the event a few days beforehand so that you're informed about it. Pretty cool. Yeah, right? YourGuitarSage.com/live is where we let folks know about like the weekend live bits. Otherwise, we just do these 11 a.m. Central Standard Time Facebook, YouTube bits. So if you want to know more about the live, weekend gigs that we do, then go to YourGuitarSage.com/live. That guitar is still a weird color online here. So weird. I don't understand. YourGuitarSage.com/live to join me this weekend, friends. You do not want to miss this, okay? You don't have to know a whole lot for this. If you know the E major chord, E minor chord, A major, A minor, you're going to be fine. In fact, if you just know E major, E minor, you're going to get this. If you know those 4 chords, okay? How would you know those 4 chords? Well, you'd go to the free course that I'm giving you right now, and you'd watch the 9 essential chords. That's at YourGuitarSage.com/30. The top 30 lessons I teach all my students. Literally, I've done this for decades. Why? Because they're the same ones. It's not a coincidence that it's in this order. It's because it was real specific. After teaching thousands and thousands of lessons, I realized that players need this video before they need this one, and they don't need this one until after this guy, and these are the ones that are most important. These are the ones that people ask me about all the time. How many times did I refer to this course in this one broadcast, right? A lot. That's because that course is absolutely so powerful. If you visited me here in Nashville, it costs about $1,000. Otherwise, it's literally one click away for you in the description of this video at YourGuitarSage.com/30. Take advantage of this, my friends. It's there for you, and I promise you, any issues that you're having with guitar, unless they're high-end, which I didn't see a lot of high-end questions today, like ones that were advanced, that course is absolutely going to get you on get you set up and get you a firm foundation for understanding the guitar. That's if you're serious about it. We have those questions about how much should I practice. Nothing wrong with that. We got to know how much we should practice. But if you're one of those people that fall into you're totally fine with sucking and or totally fine with mediocrity, and that's okay. We need lots of mediocre guitar players because if you're playing at the campfire or whatever, it's totally okay and no judgment there. But you don't have to be Eddie Van Halen to be playing some campfire songs, right? You can just be dude who knows your open chords, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're totally content with one of those sections, then you don't need lessons. You don't need to move on. But if you're serious about guitar, if you really want to get good, you got to get started. So get started with something. Take advantage of my free course. If you really want to get into the big stuff and really go down that path and you're truly committed, check out unstoppableguitarsystem.com. But you gotta be there this weekend, my friends. Make sure you register YourGuitarSage.com/live. By the way, I also had some questions about gear, and we didn't put up the link, but if you go to kit.com/YourGuitarSage, you'll find all my gear recommendations. You can see it there on the screen. All my gear recommendations, stuff that I've reviewed. You'll even see links a lot of times to the reviews there. I love this equipment, this stuff that I'm putting up there. So make sure you check that out. Any other things? Make sure you share this. We're going to pick 5 winners after the broadcast is over. You know us. We love to give stuff away, so we're going to be giving tons of stuff away. This guitar is going away this weekend, along with those 4 pedals, lifetime memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System, and I'm going to be showing you 120 new chords without the pain. You literally are going to be like, what sort of sorcery is that guy working with? When we're done, that's what you're going to be saying, okay? So make sure you tune in this Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, I think we're going to be on Facebook and YouTube, but you want to go ahead of time to YourGuitarSage.com/live because number one, we have a special link for you there. We have a PDF for you to look at. Please look at this ahead of time, okay? Because this subject matter that we're going to be looking at, it really should be looked at ahead of time. It's not real heady, but you got to look at it ahead of time. It will give you the cutting edge for the folks that aren't going to do that are just popping in at the last second. So, YourGuitarSage.com/live, download that free PDF for Saturday. It's also going to get you registered into the live broadcast, meaning that's the only thing you got to do. If you're registered, you can win. Okay, so, and we're going to be teaching. I'll be teaching you for about an hour. Then I'll probably I'll be teaching you for about an hour. We'll do our giveaways at the end of the hour, and at the half-hour mark, we do some giveaways as well. So the half-hour mark and at the hour mark, we do some giveaways, and then we go into a 2-hour-ish Q&A. So you and I, much longer than what we did today here. We did less than an hour today of live Q&A, or about an hour. We'll be doing 2 hours live Q&A, and we have a chat that is basically limited. So even though thousands of people may come there, we could have 10,000 people there. We have limited room in our chat. You will be privy to that if you register because you're the only people that will know about it, okay? I'll mention it during the broadcast, but it'll be too late by then. So, my friends, join me this Saturday. I'm really excited about it. Thank you so much. Great questions today. Great. Thanks for participating. I love you guys, even the ones that I mocked a little. I seriously love you. We're all on the same page here. We're just trying to learn guitar, and we're wanting to have fun here. And just please remember, there's nothing that you can't do. Not just on the guitar, but anything. You're an unlimited being. Once you realize that, life is going to change for you. It truly will. But guitar-wise, I can really, truly help you with that because I can show you the exact things. Otherwise, the other stuff, you just got to believe me, okay? All right. I'll see you on Saturday.